Okay, technical difficulties last week aside, let's go over the stuff that we should have had picked for last week. Uh, most of the stuff we did decent on. Will was the only one here to go even at 7-7 with his picks. Chris and I were 8-6, and Paulo, you were what was it?
10-4.
10-4. Yeah, or as I didn't expect, the Bengals actually keeping pace with the Ravens despite their issues. It What the heck is going on with the Bengals? Is it just defense at this point?
Yes,
Yeah,
it has been
100%
since like week
defense.
4.
I don't
Eh, His
I don't get it, dude.
so the Bengals this year, and this kind of like occurred to me earlier this week. The Bengals this year remind me of the 2007 Saints. We had a really good offense, but a
But no defense.
horrible defense. Yeah, and that was like a recurring theme the next year after that. Before we all know what happened in 2009. So
Yep.
that's what the Bengals are reminding me right now. They just have a good offense, just absolutely no defense, and it sucks because you can tell the Bengals are a competitive team, and they played really well against the Ravens now twice, but they just can't get the job done because, well, you got no defense to
Yeah.
rely on. So,
And what a night that was for both Burrow and Jamar Chase. I'm gonna pull up the stats here so I can actually, not be spreading misinformation here. Let me pull that up. So Burrow, 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jamar Chase, 11 catches for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns.
that's just some insane stats. Like, whoever's got them in fantasy was killing it that week. But, ooh, talk about
It's
career day for the both of them.
it's rough that they're doing stuff like that, but they can't win a game.
Hmm. It's a shame.
Ugh. But move on to the next one real quick. I just want to point out what the heck is wrong with the Giants? They can't even beat the Panthers, and I know like we got no room to talk about that. We couldn't beat them the second time, but what
Yeah.
was that?
I think it's just
Ah,
that the Giants improved over their first few weeks, but ultimately like it's not enough for them to be winning games. Like it's the team gelled a little bit, but they're still missing a lot of talent, especially on offense. And the Panthers are low key on a come up. Bryce Young has been playing better than he has since he was drafted in the last like couple weeks. Chuba Hubbard is having a good year, and no one really talks about it that much. The Panthers are slowly like growing out of being the worst team.
So at this point, is
and
it the Jaguars?
It
I would
might
have to.
be.
It might be, yeah, because the Jaguars are currently have the worst record in the entire NFL at
They're
sitting.
Oh yeah,
Well,
you're technically right because they have played one more
yeah,
game than the Titans have. So
yeah. So now, unless the Jaguars win this coming week, which is highly unlikely, but we'll cover that later. Right now, I would bank them as the worst team in the NFL, and
yeah,
it's the closest to them, as Jose said, is the
the
Titans.
Titans. And segueing here, what surprised me this past week is the Vikings only scoring 12 points against the Jaguars.
And that was really surprising because the Vikings have way more productive offensive playmakers, like more superior playmakers, and they only put up 12 points against a really bad Jaguars team.
I
Like,
believe not a single touchdown. It was all field goals. Uh, and right here, Darnold 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's what did him in. Is like the Jaguars aren't a good team this year, but even I mean 3 turnovers will put any bad team in the game to make them competitive. Like you
Yeah,
can't just give the ball over 3 times and expect to blow them out. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's still strange though that the Vikings went from being like this elite team to now struggling against the Jaguars.
I'd
Yeah,
chalk
I
it
don't
up
know.
to just an off week. Cause even a week or two ago, they're still like they might not be winning a lot right now, but they're still competitive. They're still a good team. I think it's just a down week for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they bounce back.
Yeah. Uh,
Theoretically possible.
Another thing we kind of probably should mention here is what the heck is going on in Chicago?
Chicago's imploding. I did hear that they fired their offensive coordinator this week, which is rightfully so because the Bears' offense is horrendous right now. Like their O line can't protect Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams doesn't look that good either. It's like he's starting to like revert in a way that we all anticipated him to be, being a really overrated out of college rookie quarterback. Like it's it's not looking good for Bears. And they start off this season pretty promising, but it's like I mentioned earlier this season, like the only teams they really have beaten have been bad teams, and now they just lost to a bad team, which are the Patriots. So
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah, I
It's
would
just like that.
say.
It's
Oh, go
it's
ahead.
simple. Caleb Williams is being exposed for the fraud he truly is. He got thrown into a team with weapons from, all kinds of weapons around him, and now he's self imploding.
And a good
Nine
defense, don't
sacks last
forget
week.
that.
Hmm.
9 sacks, one of the top defenses. And I know Chris mentioned the offensive line, but there is footage from last week where he had the cleanest pocket for 4 to 8 seconds. Missed DJ Reed on a breaking route, missed Keenan Allen across the middle, missed his running back in a check down, and still took a sack with the cleanest pocket. It's not an offensive line issue; it is a Caleb Williams issue, and he was just severely overrated, and he's being exposed, like Chris said, even by a bad team, and it shows.
I would be inclined to agree. I think Matt Eberflus, the head coach, is probably gonna be gone at the end of the year.
Probably.
Um, I do think a lot of the struggles have been Caleb Williams related, but I'm not. It's tough for me to come out and just say that like he might be overrated. I wouldn't say he's a fraud or anything, just because like look at Bryce Young, thrown into a bad situation, did terrible, and now look in his second year, he's improving a little bit. Like I think we're being a little too hasty to just like give up on
Maybe
guys who are halfway
overrated.
through their first year.
Maybe overrated is not the right word. It's more of like he was overhyped.
He was definitely overhyped, but I think we're getting spoiled by the fact that like CJ Stroud went in and immediately started balling, and Jaden Daniels went and immediately started balling.
Both the
Like
second
that
pick, by the
doesn't
way.
yeah, but that doesn't really like that's not the norm. We're just getting spoiled by it lately that some of those guys have been able to do that. Like we do need to like give rookie quarterbacks a little bit of time to develop.
Yeah. It's just weird though. Like they seem so promising to start out and then just imploded. But
I agree. They do need time to develop, but at the same time, this is funny because of how Caleb acted post his senior year,
yeah, remember he wanted like a
pre-draft.
portion of the team he got drafted by, like
All of this, yeah,
ownership or something
this
like
is
that.
Yeah,
it
that
is
was always
funny to see
ridiculous
that
for him
this
to say
is
that.
blowing up in his face based
Yeah.
on how he acted prior to being drafted. This is the karma you get when you act like that, like a prima donna, which he did prior to being drafted, and it's all imploding in front of him.
It's
Yeah.
actually funny you mentioned that, Will, because I don't know if any of y'all saw this, but it was like a replay of Caleb Williams having the biggest hissy fit. He's just like on the ground after he got sacked. Like I forget how many times he got sacked in that game, but it was like, bruh, you're acting like a child on the field. It's, ay ay ay.
Yeah.
If I'm a Bears fan, I'd be embarrassed. So.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where like the players know they have the talent to be better than they are. So I like it's kind of understandable that they're getting frustrated, but at the same time, yeah, it's kind of they Caleb Williams had that coming after he said what he said before the year started.
A little bit.
Mhm.
Let's move on to one of these other games here. Another one I want to mention is the black magic that happened so the Chiefs would win. How? How do they keep winning these?
I don't know, man.
Just
It's
on
like
miracles at this point.
I just can't figure it out because Denver had them where they wanted them, and they still lost.
Only
It's
because they got lucky on a blocked field goal that would have won Denver the game.
I don't know if I would call it luck because the Chiefs' defense, which a lot of those guys go into the special teams as well, like that's nothing to scoff at. Those guys are really talented.
It's like
yeah.
it's odd though that despite what we've seen from the Broncos and how like inconsistent they've been of like, oh, are they good or are they bad? Somehow the Chiefs were struggling against them, and I know it's a division game, but it it feels like almost every week, like we were saying last year. I can't remember uh, who it was that we were saying this about, but it seems like the Chiefs play up or down to their opponent's level.
And they
I
still
think we
find
did we
ways
say
to
that
win.
about the Bills last year, or
We literally said that about Josh Allen.
yeah, last year,
Yeah,
That's
he
weird.
plays
That's
to the
exactly
level
what
of
we were
his
talking
other
about.
quarterback.
Because if you
which
look at his
hasn't really
games,
been
he
the
would play
case this
great.
year. But
No,
No, he looked great against teams like the Chiefs, but then looked trash against teams like the Jags and Titans,
yeah.
which made
Yeah.
no sense.
But this just seems like the entire team at this point are playing to the level of their opponent.
Well, it all starts at the helm. It all starts at the quarterback. That's the center of your team. That's the leader of your team, both offensive and defensively.
Yeah.
That's who your team responds to. That's the leader of all 53 guys. So if he's playing terrible or he's not in it, that's just what they're gonna follow.
And granted, he's not playing terribly, but he's not playing to what you'd expect from Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, which is why a lot of these games have been close. I mean, look at it was the same. It wasn't quite the same, but it was kind of the same when they played the Raiders. The Raiders are not a good team, and it still took them down to the wire to win that game. Division game, I mean, look, division game, division game. I don't care if it's a division game for that division because the Raiders are not good, and they're not a competitor against the Chiefs normally. But look, I mean,
You
Mahomes
can
has
say
been.
that. I know Paulo doesn't like that we say division games,
Okay, sometimes it's true, but sometimes it's not.
but
Like,
it is.
not all
Like
division
it goes to
games.
show. It goes to show though. It's proven. The Raiders game, the Broncos game now, like as much as you may not like it, they play completely different interdivisionally.
See, I wouldn't say so because the Chiefs have not been dominant in really any game this year.
Yeah. I mean, but that's just this year. But look at years past; it's been the same.
I kind
They
of
lost
get
to the
part of
Raiders
what
last
Paulo's
year.
saying, though.
The Raiders were better
the
last year,
Broncos
though.
the same.
I get what Paulo's
Fair.
saying, though. Like, look at the Saints this year. The first
Look
game,
when we blew out the Panthers
yeah,
week 1.
and
Yeah.
then this last game against them. It may not be the exact same every time. Like, you're going to have some blowouts here and there. But it is, like, 100% certain that these teams play differently when they're playing a division game.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean better, but it does. It's a different, it's familiarity that just makes you play different.
Yeah. And speaking of a division game, the one that we're probably going to rant on again, Falcons and Saints. How the heck did we win that?
Let's go. And I had the privilege of being at that game myself. Wasn't my intention to go to that game, considering how bad we've been. But when you get free tickets on club level seats, you can't pass that up. So, but I had the privilege of being at that game, and surprisingly, the dome was packed. But there were a crap ton of Falcon fans there.
Yeah, didn't they take over Bourbon Street like right before?
Took over Bourbon Street, and which wasn't a surprise considering how bad we've been. And they came in that dome talking so much trash, so much profanity about the Saints. And then as soon as we took them down, they left in
Chris
silence.
was a happy man.
I was a very happy man because a lot of things happened the day before, which I'll get to later on. But there was this Falcons fan talking so much trash next to me. I was just staying quiet the entire time. And as soon as we beat them, I turned to him and said, Dirty bird can't fly on a broken wing, but bub, get your ass back to Atlanta.
Jesus.
Pardon the language. So,
Yeah,
But-
I think the defense didn't look that great, honestly, which I
No,
don't think
no.
we were expecting it to. The offense just was clicking, and I think that just has a lot to do about, Dennis Allen is gone. We got an interim head coach. These guys want to like fight for the new head coach or whatever. It's just the dark cloud above everyone just kind of was gone.
Yeah.
yeah. And the one thing I did notice in regards to the coaching, you can tell the team was much more energized than they were under Dennis Allen.
I honestly
when he was
like the
fired.
energy that this coach brings.
Yeah, like everyone has been calling him the Rizzler.
Oh
which,
my god.
Yeah, everybody on Twitter calls him the Rizzler. I've kind of adopted at this point because it sounds really cool. And he has lit a fire underneath this team, and thank God he did because this team really needs some kind of spark, especially against your hated rivals, the Falcons. And you know what separates the Ern Rizzi from Dennis Allen? He did not apologize to the Falcons. Thank God for that. So
We're gonna
But-
get sued for trying to use the Rizzler. I'm pretty sure
But-
that's copyrighted.
I have no
Yeah.
clue at this point. It was interesting to see though how certain players for the Saints stepped up, specifically Marquez Valdez Scantling, with
Yeah, he
only
had a career
3
day.
catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well,
and
he became like the deep guy, like Shaheed was when he was healthy.
quite
just
honestly,
lob it
I
down
forgot
there.
he was on the team.
And most of the other receivers that we have didn't really do a whole lot, like around 36 yards for the majority here, or at least 36 or under. Camaro was the second leading receiver with 54. Just
Yeah,
strange.
yeah. Yesterday was all about MVS. I'm just using his initials.
Well, yesterday was
MVS.
Tuesday, so
Yeah, it was all MVS. And Alvin Kamara, and I guess you could say Derek Carr because he had a pretty decent day. No turnovers. I think he got sacked once. I can't remember, but still, it's like the Saints actually look competent on offense. Now they did scare me because they only scored 3 points in the second half, which concerned me
What-
a great bit.
What saved us was Young Ho Koo going 1 for 4.
Yes,
Young
I guarantee. What? Wait, what?
His name is pronounced Youngway.
I'm gonna say it how I want to say it. That is how it is written.
Yes.
Incorrectly.
No, he's a
But,
Falcon. He is Young Ho Koo.
Yes.
Jose just
But-
likes young hoes.
Oh no.
I'm gonna slap you Saturday when I see you.
Oh man. But yeah, if Young Hoku made those field goals, we would not have won this game. Plain and simple. Thank God he was just having his worst day of his career, and we managed to take advantage of that. Because the defense wasn't all that great, but they made enough stops to help us win the game. And the offense did just enough to help us win as well. But is she gonna I just wish they would score more in the second half so I would feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
But in the end, we still got the W, and it's always a beautiful day when we beat the Falcons. Just saying.
And
So.
I'm going to mention a couple of more games. Not going to go in depth with them here, but I found it interesting how close the games between the Niners and Buccaneers and the Steelers and Commanders were. Steelers Commanders was a 1-point game, which the Commanders lost after going for it on 4th down and coming up a little bit short. And the Buccaneers somehow, despite all their injuries at receiver, are still handling themselves pretty well. And it seems to me that McCaffrey coming back didn't do a whole lot for San Francisco.
Yeah, barely anything really.
Not when you miss 3 field goals.
And
Yes,
there's
that's
also I'll have to see if I can find the clip, but I think I sent it to y'all earlier this week. Paulo, what the heck is that noise?
Oh, my bad. I'm opening mail.
Brother,
Let me stop.
at least mute the mic.
I thought those were M&Ms.
Perchance.
But I would need to see if I can find that clip. What the heck was wrong with Debo? Like, he was throwing a fit on the sidelines for some reason.
Yeah, he's putting his hands on the long snapper because they missed 3 field goals.
Yeah, they just had a bad day.
Yeah.
And yet they still won the game anyway, so it didn't really matter.
And before we move on, I'm just gonna say something about these next 3 games. Cardinals, Jets. The Jets suck. The good
Easily.
Cardinals showed up for that game. Eagles, Cowboys. The Cowboys suck.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the Cowboys screwed.
Lions, Texans, which was actually a very good game to watch. How the heck did the Lions win with Jared Goff throwing, was it 5 or 6 interceptions?
5. How? Because we didn't score any points in the second half. None. Not a single.
Yeah,
Not a field
because
goal.
the Texans are
not a
anemic
touchdown.
without Nico and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. I mean, no. Well, we put up 23 in the first half.
I wouldn't say
we're
anemic, but I think second half, the Lions' adjustments they made on defense kind of just shut y'all down.
Not only that, we reverted to the old Texans to where we play very well in the first half and do absolutely nothing in the second. And I highly disagree with D'Amico's call going for a 58-yard field goal.
Yeah, what was he
get
thinking there?
I get it. Kaimi has made the most 50-plus yard field goals, but we cannot count on this man to constantly make them. You were tied 23-23. There's a minute and 40 left. Punt the ball, pin them deep, instead of giving them the ball on the 48, and all they have to do is get to the 35, 38. They need 10 to 20 yards to win it. Instead of pinning them deep,
it's like Paulo said. It's like Paulo said. One day the decisions he makes being risky was going to come back to bite him, and there it is.
Yep. He's not Dan Campbell. I'm sorry. You're not. Don't play like Dan Campbell. Let Dan Campbell do what he does. I wholeheartedly believe punt the ball, pin them, let your defense go to work. They went to work all night. Yeah, we gave up 16 unanswered. That's a minute 40 left. Take it to overtime. Overtime's the flip of a coin. We saw it with the Broncos and the Bucks. It's what it comes down to. I wholeheartedly believe that's the route we should have went. I get it. Nico or Kaimi is 1 or 2. You can put him at 1 or 2 for kickers in the league between him and Brandon Aubrey, but that was just not the decision.
Mm-hmm.
The way that night was going, no points for almost 2 full quarters. It's not the decision to make.
It was rough, but I am surprised that they kept up the way they did, being so thin at receiver at this point. They're probably still going to make the playoffs because nobody in their division is competing with them at this point. But I don't know if they're going to go very far if they can't figure out their O-line problem. And I believe we said this last year, Will. In the draft, they needed to get some O-line help, and I don't know if they did.
Nope.
Yeah.
We called this.
Yeah, I think for next draft for the Texans, the most imperative thing they got to do, the most important position would be getting O-line, because that O-line is just atrocious from what I've seen, and it looks like the Saints O-line at this point. Like it's terrible. Like,
well, it's not even the draft. You had all the way to the trade deadline.
Yep.
To make something happen when you saw how that O-line was, and you did nothing. You shuffled around some players. It took Kenyon Green going to IR to pull him off that line. That's terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
It's it's an interesting situation to see, and I hope that they address it in the off season. But it's not looking great if they can't protect CJ. But
Yeah.
let's move on to this week. We're starting off strong with Thursday night football. Commanders at the Eagles, and honestly, at this point, this might be the toughest team the Eagles have played.
And quite honestly, who saw this coming? Because you know how we said in the beginning of the season that Commanders probably would be all that. I see what you're doing there, Jose.
Who saw it coming? Hmm.
You did. I humbly admit that. But yeah, like this is gonna be a good game. Because we know the Eagles are back. They're good. I'm not gonna say they're like stupid good because I think the Lions top that. But the Eagles are good no matter what. Commanders, they're good as long as Jaden Daniels continues to do what he's been doing, and it's clearly he's the answer to the Commanders' problems. Last season, the Commanders have kept it close twice, but just could not pull through in the end. I think this time they get it done. But it's going to be hard because they're playing at the Eagles' house and it's a divisional game. It could go either way. But given how the Commanders have played against the Eagles in the last 2 years, I like their chances in winning this game. I'm taking Commanders by 3.
My thing with this is Lattimore playing, because I don't think he played this last week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I actually saw news about that today. He's not likely to play. He still is nursing a hamstring injury before he was traded to the not the Browns, the Commanders.
They could really use some help back there, the secondary at this point, and I feel like he's going to make a difference when he gets back there.
Most likely.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm picking Commanders. I ain't going against Jaden. My only concern is Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon's gonna be a problem. Like every team has had a problem trying to contain him. You can ask the Saints themselves; they had a problem containing him. And like, if you find a way to shut him down early, you're gonna win this game pretty quickly. But if you let him get loose, have fun because it's not gonna be an easy fight with these guys.
Yeah, and we all know Jalen Hurts has some turnover issues this season. If the Commanders' defense can, play on that, get a couple turnovers and get some points off of them, it's going to be a lot easier for him. And I have pretty good faith that Jaden can get him some points.
Yeah, I agree.
This is tough. This is definitely going to be a good game, one to watch. I really don't know what to do here because I want to believe in the Commanders, but I feel like they've come back down to earth a little bit, and the Eagles have finally got things together a little bit. They're 5-0 in the last 5 games. Uh, all right, I'm taking the Eagles.
Oh wow!
But I want the Commanders to win, so I'll take the Eagles. Maybe 3 points. I think the Commanders will definitely put up points, but like you said, Commanders defense isn't incredible, and Saquon's a problem for sure. I mean, AJ Brown, is AJ Brown playing? He's healthy, right?
Yeah, AJ Brown's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles definitely have a passing attack and a running attack. Commanders defense is not a top defense. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop both.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He abruptly ended. I thought there was more to that.
Yeah,
very abruptly ended. No, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Paulo on this one. I think the Eagles are gonna win. It'd be great to see Jaden beat them in a division game like this, especially the way they've been playing. But I just don't see that happening. I think they still need a few more pieces, especially if they traded for Lattimore and he's not even playing. Like that's awful. Like you went out and got him right at the deadline, and he still has yet to play for you. And I think that's key for him. That's big on that defense. And with missing pieces like that, it just makes it harder to cover A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard. And then you got to worry about two people who can run between Jalen Hurts and Saquon. So it's just way too many weapons for him, I think, for them to be able to keep up with for 4 quarters.
Oh, here's another thing. The Commanders' O-line is still, it's still the Commanders' O-line. You know, it's improved, I think, a little bit, but not a lot. The Eagles do got a pass rush. Something to worry about.
Yeah.
All valid points.
Well,
But I guess we'll be split on this one.
Yeah, split 2-2. Next up to start off the noon game Sunday, we have Packers at the Bears, and I'm not putting any faith in the Bears.
Not by chance. Packers all day. Honestly, it's given the Packers' last 10-year history with the Bears, it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers absolutely decimate the Bears this time around, despite the Bears having pretty good defense. Just the Bears have looked so bad in the last 2 weeks. There's nothing about them right now that gives me any kind of faith in them. So I'm taking Packers by 7 in this matchup.
I agree. I'm taking Packers. The Packers have been, despite injuries off and on throughout the year, they have been hanging in there. Definitely going to be in the mix to make the playoffs when it's all said and done. And the Bears have, they looked like they were getting better there for a while, and then now they've gotten worse. So I don't think the Bears have a chance.
Yeah, I think this is all pretty one-sided. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
Just Packers.
And we're probably all going to agree on the next one, too.
Yeah, they're just imploding. The Bears are just imploding on themselves.
But this next one is Lions at the Jaguars. I already know Will's answer.
Yes, fire damnation.
Put up that photoshopped image I made earlier.
Yeah, no. I don't think the Jags can do what we did by any means necessary. Yeah, they got Gabe Davis back. I don't think that helps them that much at all. They're not going to have 5 interceptions against Goff.
Yeah, I think Jared Goff's gonna have a bounce back game this week. Like, it's rare for a quarterback to throw 5 interceptions back to back. So I'm taking Lions by. I'm going to take them by 17 in this matchup.
The question is, are they putting up 50?
On the Jags, look, it's never a good idea to bet that a team can put up 50, but I think it's possible. I wouldn't say that they put up 50 though. Maybe 40.
35. I say at least 35. I see at least 5 touchdowns against them. Whether that's a mix of Brian Branch picking them off and returning it, whether that's Goff or Knuckles and his companion in the background going at it.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, there's just a combination of 5 to 6 touchdowns happening for them.
Yeah, I think 35 is a more realistic score for the Lions to put up on the Jaguars. I don't think it's going to be that much of a competition. Like you said, Gabe Davis is coming back, but Christian Kirk's out for the year, so you're down to 2 receivers and whoever the third is.
Do we know Thomas if Jr. It's Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones?
Mac.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, they already announced it was Mac. Yeah. But here's the thing: if you go back and look at the last 3 weeks, even for Goff, it's not going to make a difference. But he himself has had a terrible 3-week stretch, and that started way back against Tennessee. He went 12 for 85, and then he went 18 for 145, and then 15 for 240 and 5 interceptions. He himself has just had a bad stretch, but that team is so good that they just make up the difference for him, and that's the issue.
Wouldn't see. We're going back to that now, though, but I don't think that's. A lower amount of attempts and lower yards isn't bad. If your team is running 200 yards a game, then that's just you don't have to do that.
If you compare it to other things, when you're throwing 2 to 5 interceptions a game, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, well, he threw 5, but how many interceptions in those other 2 games?
1 or 2
each.
Okay.
In each game.
All right, that changes it.
That's what I'm saying. He's just had a very bad 3-game stretch. I think this is the perfect reestablishment game.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Jaguars aren't going to stop the pass. They're definitely not stopping the best running back 1-2 in the league. You know, that double-headed monster is just going to run all over the Jaguars. And that's basically what's going to happen for the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one's quick, and then one's just straight up going to hit you in the mouth every play.
Knock you flat on your back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally the combo you're dealing with.
They're not going to stop them, and they're not going to keep pace. So,
Yeah. Next up, we have Dolphins Raiders. I don't think this should be a question. It should be Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins have looked a lot better ever since Tua came back, and the Raiders, well, they're the Raiders. They still stink. So, but yeah, I'm taking Dolphins in this matchup just because the Dolphins clearly have way better
offense.
weapons than the Raiders on offense. Defense, yeah, the defense isn't that good, but it's definitely better than the Raiders. So, give me the Dolphins by at least 10 in this matchup.
yeah, I'll take Dolphins as well. Dolphins have, at their best, an elite offense. Even if they don't show up, you know, so what? It's the Raiders. The Raiders are
Yeah.
not good on offense. They're not good on defense. What are they going to do?
Not much.
Yep, I agree. I got Tua going for 5 tutties alone.
Oh, damn.
Jesus. Speaking of Tua, though, was that man trying to give himself another concussion, trying to tackle that man in that game Monday night?
Yeah, who knows what he
Theoretically
was
possible.
doing.
It,
Even Devon Achan is wearing a Guardian cap. And like Tua's just out here just free and he's just like, it is what it is at this point. He's going for
if
a
I
record
die, I die.
in a career. Yeah, I know. That's what it seems like.
All right. Next up, Rams at the Patriots. I think this should be Rams. They just look better offensively. But the Patriots might surprise us.
Hasn't the Patriots won like 2 games in a row now?
Um,
I think they did.
I believe so. I think they're on a 2-game win streak.
Yeah.
No, they lost to Tennessee
Oh,
Did
never
they?
mind.
in overtime. Yeah.
That's right.
You're right.
That was the
Just
game
kidding.
May got hurt.
Yeah. No, I think this will be. Drake May's having a good year for a rookie with the weapons he has around him.
Yeah.
He's having like, a decent year for a rookie with that situation. And like each week, it's like he looks good, and like the next week it's kind of a regression. But I mean, he doesn't have much to work with. But I don't think it's enough to beat a Rams team. Like, yeah, that was the Titans. That's not saying much. Like, honestly, they have so many issues. It's not even funny. I think the
Yeah.
Rams easily win. It's Matt Stafford, Puka, Cup, Kyron Williams. Like, it's a team that we've seen who should have a better record than they do, but I don't think it's enough to beat the Rams by any means.
Yeah. I'm also going to take Rams just for those facts alone that Will just mentioned. The Patriots have put up some good things lately, but they still got a ways to go before they can actually look like a competent team that could be feisty in the near future. But Rams, they just got better weapons, slightly better defense. I'm taking Rams by 7 in this matchup.
I'm taking the Rams as well. I think the Rams are a more complete team. The Patriots, like every time you see the Patriots the past few weeks, it's the potential that comes to mind. Like next year when they have more pieces after the draft and stuff, then maybe they'll be a competitor. But right now you're seeing that Drake May was a good pick in the draft. And then you're just kind of looking toward the future, what you might be able to do. But I don't think they're not there yet. They can't beat the Rams this year.
Yeah, I agree because the
They
Patriots,
they need receivers bad.
yeah,
I mean,
big
more
time.
than just receive. Like, that's a start.
Yeah, you could use more receivers. You could use another running back. A lot more defense.
Tweak that O line a little bit. Like, get that all done. The Patriots could be back to their glory days again. But as
And
of
it could be
now,
for a few years.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Next up, we got Browns at the Saints. Here comes Winton.
This one's
Here we
actually
go.
kind of tough, low key.
Yeah, this one's gonna
So
be.
we're gonna
tough.
get good Winton, bad Winton. We're gonna get good Saints, bad Saints. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a good one. I am contemplating on going still.
Oh, all right. um, so looking at this game, Browns. There's not a whole lot to say about them other than Jameis Winston. But it's like we just said, which Winston are we gonna get? Are we gonna get good Winston where he
Bad
throws for like
Winston.
3+ touchdowns, or bad Winston where
That
he's
throws
throwing
for
3
3
picks in a game?
interceptions.
And with the Saints, they finally broke that nasty 7-game losing streak, but this is where the true test comes in. Like, can Darren Rizzi lead us to a back-to-back wins as a first time as an interim head coach? That's what I will be interested to see. And from what I've been hearing, we might get Eric McCoy back, so he'll be starting center again this week. So that's a huge plus for a running game, because when Eric McCoy was in there before he went injured back in week 3 against the Eagles, our running game was just like that. So, but we'll see what happens. He's still questionable on the injury list. But right now, for this game, I'm taking the Saints, but only by 3. I think this is gonna be a pretty close game between two really miserable teams.
I'm also going to pick the Saints, but the question mark for me is how is that O-line going to handle the pass rush from the Browns? Because
Yeah.
that's Myles Garrett over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, like, the way the Saints can win this game is, one, obviously protect Derek Carr. Two, just continue to utilize Alvin Kamara, because Alvin Kamara now has 7 games this season where he's over 100 yards in scrimmage yards, whether it's rushing or passing, it doesn't really matter.
Just all purpose.
Yeah, if you continue doing that, you're gonna win this game. But of course, don't overly utilize him to the point where he injures himself. That's the last thing we need.
We don't want a McCaffrey situation.
Exactly. So, and also get Scantling involved. Valdez Scantling, like, get him involved, because we got him involved last week and it worked out so nicely. Now these other receivers, well, they're third string, fourth string practice squad guys for
We're
a
doing the
reason.
best we can.
Exactly, because we got no Chris Olave for the rest of the year. We got no Rashid Shaheed. We'll just do your best at this point. So
Yeah. Before last week, I would have said definitely Browns, but after last week, I'm inclined to agree. I think I'll take the Saints. It's going to be close if we win 3 points or less. Like, I'm not expecting that much. I think that the Browns are going to hit us kind of hard, and we're not going to be able to do a lot on defense. I'm counting on Winston to throw at least a pick, and that'll be the difference maker, because Nick Chubb is going to run all over our defense. There's no doubt
oh
about
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
But I think that we looked pretty decent against the Falcons secondary last week, and the Falcons secondary is better than the Browns secondary. So if we can, even though we are kind of that one-trick pony almost, or two-trick pony, either give it to Kamara or just lob it downfield for Valdez Scantling or Shaheed or whoever's healthy. But if we can do that again, if we can get a couple of deep balls and Winston throws a pick, then I think we win.
yeah, I agree. And I want to add this quick comment real quick. Like, so let's say the Saints lose. That would suck. But at the same time, it wouldn't necessarily suck, because that means we can maintain our high draft pick position as of now. So it's like the way I enter this, how this season is going to wrap up. If we lose, we get a nice draft pick. If we win, it'll kind of stumble us, but still, it's nice to win. So it's like the way I see it's kind of like a win-win situation. If we win, great, we won. If we lose, higher draft pick. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Will, your thoughts?
Oh no, I'm gonna pick the Saints as well. I saw, like we said, saw what he can do with the team, get them hyped up. Hopefully, this win against a division rival like that kicks something in for him. You've got Carr back. You see what MVS can do. It's not Shaheed Paulo. He's on IR for the rest of his years.
No, I know that's what I mean. Just whoever's healthy is the deep guy.
But yeah, I mean, utilize that. Like we saw, you can make those connections. We know what MVS can do. He did it for the Chiefs multiple times in their Super Bowl wins. Like make that connection, make that trust. But like Paulo said, you're gonna have to contain Nick Chubb because that man is a menace. You know, he's bouncing back from an injury, but he can still do crazy things, and he's short and stocky. Like that'll wear down a defense constantly. So
Yeah.
if they can do that, I think they have a very good chance, and it's at home for them. We know Chris knows, y'all know from experience how loud the dome can be when things are going
Yep.
y'all's way.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, that's what it's got to be. Come out, hit him in the mouth early, and just stay on the gas.
Agreed.
Well, next game up here, this is a good one. We got Ravens at the Steelers.
Yeah, this is the matchup I've been waiting for.
I think this is
all
game of the
season.
week.
100% agreed because we've talked so much about how the Steelers have improved drastically, not just on defense. Like we knew they had a good defense, but their offense is kind of like taking another step forward. Like now, I'm not saying they're like super elite or anything like that. They just actually look better than
Competent.
usual. Yeah, competent, exactly. And we all know we've been talking about the Ravens so much this season that they have Derrick Henry, who just looks so unstoppable, and then Lamar Jackson, he looks unstoppable. The thing though is whose defense is going to step up, because the Ravens' defense is not much to talk about. They're just getting by because the Ravens' offense is just that good. The Steelers' defense, and we know how this game usually goes because they both are hated rivals against one another. Like this game could go either way. It's gonna be a fun matchup, but I think I'm gonna take Ravens in this one just because of their offense, and primarily just their offense. But it's not gonna come easy.
I'm gonna agree with Chris. I think the Ravens probably win this game, even though it should be a good game. I know that Russ is 3-0 as a starter with the Steelers. I don't know. I think the Ravens offense against the Steelers defense is kind of like the Steelers offense against the Ravens defense. Like the Ravens offense is better going against the better of the two defenses, and then you got the not quite as good offense going against the not as good defense. I think they kind of cancel out a little bit. And it's gonna be, I don't know. I expect it to be a close game. I expect it to be relatively high scoring, but I think it's gonna be maybe not as close as like a Bengals Ravens, but it's gonna be one of those division games, like y'all say, it's maybe like 30 points apiece type of deal. Less than a touchdown differential. It'll be a good game. I just don't know. I think this is the real test for the Steelers offense going against the Ravens. Or the Steelers team as a whole, really.
And honestly, I can't explain it, but I have a very strange feeling, and I'm picking the Steelers.
Oh, Steelers, interesting. All right.
I'm gonna go Steelers by 3.
Hmm.
It's in Pittsburgh, and I feel like the Steelers' defense is still one of the best in the league. Their offense is rolling. I don't know if I can necessarily pick against them right now. Despite how good the Ravens are, they have their moments of being bad. We've seen it against the Raiders earlier this year. We've seen it against the Browns. I have more faith in the Steelers, honestly.
Alrighty then.
All right.
Your
Will
thoughts?
Will tie it, or will he 3-1 it?
3-1 it. No, I think this is one of the games of the week. I don't think it's the game of the week. I think it's one of the two. But for the Steelers to win, they have to use Mike Williams more than what they did. Yes, I get he's new to the offense. You know what he can do. You've seen what he can do. He helped them big time in that win last weekend. they've got to utilize him because you can't just rely on Pickens and Pat Freiermuth and Najee Harris. Like, get Mike involved in the deep game, and I think that can expose that Ravens secondary really well. But at the same time, I don't think their 3-0 stretch that they've had with Russ is enough. With the way the Ravens are playing on both sides of the ball. Yeah, they've had a few slip ups. They've had some, some weird games here and there. But I mean, that offense of theirs is ridiculous. And once they get Deontay Johnson more involved, like, it's going to be terrifying. So I'm going 3-1, making it 3-1 with the Ravens. I just don't think the Steelers. It's going to be a game. It's going to be a
It always
fight
is.
to the end, but. And especially with adding Russell in there. I mean, you had Big Ben for the longest, but now you got Russ in there for the Steelers. I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's enough.
I think the thing for me is, like, the Ravens don't have anything to prove. Like, we know who the Ravens are. This, for me, is the prove it game for the Steelers. Like, you beat the Jets, you beat, the Commanders, who don't have a very good defense. And your defense kind of, like, worked out for you. This is the game where it's like, if you're a legit contender, win this game, and then I'll believe in you.
Fair.
I'll be the odd man out. I don't think this next one should be a question. It's Vikings and Titans. We already know Will's answer. Don't even need to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going
But
Vikings.
but I will give it anyways. Vikings fire hell and damnation. Yeah, I mean, Will Levis is supposed to be back. I think that's a mistake.
Oh yeah, rip.
They played him last week.
Did they?
Yes.
I didn't even
Terrible
notice.
idea.
I thought it was Mason
That's
Rudolph.
why they lost. They have a better chance with Mason Rudolph than they do.
They really
with
do.
Levis.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a terrible game. We didn't get any memes last week, which was kind of upsetting.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's his best game of the year.
Which is surprising. Like, it really is. It was his best game. Like, I still think he threw for under 200, but it was a clean game. No fumbles, no interceptions, nothing like that. But, yeah, I think, like, even with the little, whatever we're calling it, that the Vikings had last week, I don't think that makes a difference in them beating the Titans, unless something weird happens where Darnold throws 5 interceptions. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Neither
I
do
don't
I.
see it either. I guess we're all in agreement then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next one up, Colts Jets. This game.
Why is this
sucks.
hard? Why is this hard to pick in a way?
I'm not
that's, like,
saying-
neither team is
Hold
good.
on. It's not hard to pick. Here's my
It's a
issue.
division game. There
Hold
you
on.
go.
No.
No, it's not.
Or
Did you
no,
say Colts Jets
I'm-
is a division game?
No, I'm saying it's
No.
somebody from Will's team's division. Is what I'm
Which
meaning.
is why I'm torn.
Yeah.
Because I want them to lose, but I also want revenge on the Jets, and that's my issue. And I got it. The Cardinals gave it to them, so it's kind of like, well, that's out of the way. But still, fire and damnation and hell to the Colts because they need to lose. We've got the division. There's nothing anyone in the division is going to do to take it away. But I still want to see them fall farther. And they're starting Anthony Richardson once again, so we can see how this continues to. And there's a cat making a guest appearance
Twice now.
but we'll see. I don't think it's going to be any better. Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson, and Michael Pittman is kind of hurt right now. Kind of banged up.
I guess that means that Downs is their wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be the Jets. As much as I don't want either one of them to win.
I want to say Jets, but especially after last week, I don't know what to think.
The Jets are very up and down, and it's hard to have any confidence in them after what they did against the Cardinals. But here's the thing with the Colts: like, the Colts, they benched Anthony Richardson for a reason, and then what? A week later, 2 weeks later, he's back. When he was playing, Anthony Richardson was a turnover machine, and I don't think that 2 weeks of being on the bench has changed that. I expect him to come back and be the same Anthony Richardson that got benched a few weeks ago. So, I mean, look, I think that the Colts under Anthony Richardson are not a good team, but at least the Jets at times have shown flashes of being able to beat a team. Like the Colts under Anthony Richardson, like, I mean, I just don't have any faith in them, especially with your number one target down. You got Pierce and you got Downs. I don't know. There's just not a lot of anything going on with the Colts right now.
Yeah, I'm rolling Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also gonna take Jets. Uh, as much as I hate their inconsistency, um, yeah, Jets all day because I just don't trust the Colts in this matchup. Like, I mean, this game
It's
could go
hard to
either way.
trust
Like,
either one, but I feel like
yeah,
the Jets are the better put together team, at least.
yeah, I agree because the Colts have been inconsistent as much as the Jets have been. But I think the Jets are a little more put together, like Jose said. So
They're
I'm taking
better
the
on
Jets.
paper.
Yeah. So I'm taking Jets by 7 in this matchup.
I guess it's Jets around the board. Next
Yes.
up, Falcons, Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are going to repeat their success from last week against the Chiefs. Despite the loss, they actually played pretty well.
Now hold on. Hold on.
Oh
You
God,
forget about something. You forget that they have the Falcon killer, Sean Payton.
you
I'm
say
just
that,
saying.
but
I get the Broncos that they're not as good as the Falcons, but Sean Payton knows the Falcons. He's gone against them for so long now. It's like he. I mean, granted that schemes change over time, but still, he has been consistently good against beating the Falcons his entire coaching career. So it wouldn't surprise me honestly if the Broncos beat the Falcons. But really, realistically, looking at this game, I'm taking the Falcons over
it
the
should be
Broncos.
Falcons.
Yeah.
I'm going Falcons. I think it'll be a good game. But I'm going Falcons. I don't think Sean Payton's experience with the Falcons honestly does that much for him because this is head coach he's never gone against, quarterback that wasn't on the Falcons before. You know, you got a running back he's never gone against. You got basically the whole team is not any version of the Falcons he's ever faced.
Yeah. Plus the Falcons, they just have at this point better quarterback, better receivers, better running back, better pretty much everything on offense, in my opinion.
I wouldn't even say that the Broncos have a better defense. You got AJ Terrell back there. The Falcons' defense is nothing to laugh at.
No, it's not.
Well, we did laugh at them when they lost to the Saints, but
Oh, yeah, I mean,
That's a given,
that
though.
was our good fortune. That wasn't. That's not
yes,
an
it's,
That
indication
was
that
the
we're better than
voodoo.
they are.
That was the voodoo
yes,
pushing
uh,
the ball away from the
that's
goalposts.
right. That's why I went to the game. I casted my voodoo powers against the Falcons.
Hey.
But Will, your thoughts?
Yeah, big Kirko for the dub. He bounced back against the Broncos.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Next one up, Seahawks at the Niners. Seahawks are getting DK back. The Niners, as we saw, are struggling a little bit. I think this is going to be
Don't
a
care.
close one.
Don't care. I made this mistake last time. I don't care.
What?
It's Niners. I picked the Seahawks last time, and I'm not doing it again. I do not care. I don't.
I'm with Will on this
I picked
one.
the Seahawks, and the Niners absolutely won that one.
Given that
Will
this
not make that
is
mistake twice.
given that this one is in San Francisco, yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
It's not gonna be a blowout, but I'm certain the Niners will probably kick the Seahawks behind like last time because it really doesn't matter. Because we all thought that last time the Seahawks looked like the better team against the Niners, but no, the Niners had something else to say about that. So I'm expecting it to be close to the same as last time, but this time it'll be at the Niners' home. So I'm taking the Niners by 10 in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you got the rematch. Obviously, we know how the first one turned out. It's going to be the Niners again because, you know, it's the same matchup, except that the Seahawks are in a worse position than they were last time. You know, DK's coming off an injury. They're not the home team anymore. You know, McCaffrey's back. There's nothing. Everything is working in the Niners' favor in this matchup, and I mean, it's just the Seahawks are just having the odds stacked more against them. So I think it's the Niners.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter that Ayuk is out because Jawan Jennings has established himself as wide receiver 2. Ricky Parcell, the rookie who was shot in the chest twice, has established himself as a very dominant wide receiver 3. Kittle, they're slowly. I get what you're saying last week about McCaffrey, Jose. I do, but that's week 1 back.
Yeah,
Like
it
he's
was
getting
also
back into it. He's figuring it out. Like he's reestablishing himself. They take it easy. You're not looking to just dump 100% of the workload on him in week 1 and put him in another situation where he's out the rest of the year. So I think this week you're going to see much more of him, those runs we used to see, and then every week after that is just going to be hopefully for them, not for everyone else, but hopefully for the Niners, you get old McCaffrey back.
It was also Moody's first week back last week as well. If he hadn't been coming off injury and missed 3 field goals, that game wouldn't have been as close as we're thinking about it right now.
yeah.
Not by any means.
All right, I guess it's all Niners. And the next one up, my pick should be obvious based on the hat. Chiefs at the Bills. Screw the Chiefs.
This is what I was saying was game 2 of the week. You can put it at 1 or 2.
Yeah, I completely forgot when we were looking at the other one.
Yes, this game right here is where it's at. If we're looking at a team to send them home with the defeat, I was hoping it was going to be Baker. But if we're looking at a team, it's this.
He came close, though.
Well, here's my question. Why is this not a Sunday night game? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
why is
it the afternoon game and not Sunday
the Lone
night?
Star Showdown, that's why.
No, that's a Monday night. And we'll get to that in a minute. No, I'm looking at it right here.
No, Texans play Monday. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. They got
Sunday night. Yeah, it's Bengals Chargers. No, get that out of here.
They need to switch that up.
Oh, they flex that one. No. They flex that Chargers game into that spot. I forget who it was before. There was another. The Colts and Jets was supposed to be Sunday night, and then
okay, that's better. That's better, but why the heck would you not put the Chiefs and Bills in prime time?
Because you can't flex every game. Like there's options. You have a certain amount of games that you can flex,
and only certain games can be flexed.
Well, I'm meaning like when you were originally making the schedule, why would this not be a night game?
Because the Bengals were expected to be better, and so were the Chargers, I think, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but the Bills and Chiefs game is like an instant classic.
Paulo, that
Everyone
argument...
thought the Bills weren't going to be good this year. You remember the beginning of the year?
That's
Just because
true.
they are doesn't mean anything.
This is true.
Fair.
This is true. They thought with Stephon leaving that this team was going to struggle.
Well,
but I think this is, for me, this is game of the week because Josh Allen has a chance to unseat Mahomes and the Chiefs from being undefeated. And it's at home for Buffalo.
Right now, if anybody can, it's the Bills.
They need Amari. You know, he sat out the last 2 weeks. I think they sat him because of this.
They want him healthy.
He's been hurt.
Yeah, I thought they looked at that injury and they were talking about, well, we got the Chiefs in 2 weeks. We'd rather have him there than these 2 games. Because they still won, right? Not an issue. Because Shakir, Coleman, Dawson Knox, Kincaid. This will be a game for him, and they need him. Because Mahomes had Hopkins, and Hopkins is showing up for them on offense. He has stepped into that role that Mahomes needed, and that's an issue.
I think they're finally getting Matt Milano back for the first time this year as well.
They did activate him. Yep.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going Bills.
I'm also going Bills. And it's not an easy decision, to be honest, because every time the Bills play the Chiefs, and we think the Bills can do it, it doesn't happen. Or
I know.
really any team. Anytime we think this team's going to dethrone the Chiefs, it doesn't happen. But just even though deep down, I feel like I just have this bad feeling like it's not going to happen. But just out of pure willpower, I'm taking the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills out of
Pure
spite.
spite.
I'm so yeah. I'm so sick of the Chiefs winning. Like they have become the New England Patriots, except this time with Patrick Mahomes playing for the Chiefs. It's
There's a
like,
difference. There's a
sick of it.
difference, Chris. The Patriots didn't have Swifties.
That is also true. I'm also sick of the Swifties.
I'm telling you what I'm saying with Allen. Josh Allen is 3-1 versus Mahomes. We all know what that one loss was.
Regular season, right? Or
Playoffs.
is that?
Yeah, it's 3-1 in regular season, and that one loss was at the end of the season in OT when they petitioned for the OT rules to be changed.
Yep.
That is his one
Right.
loss against Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with them. This is the
Yeah.
time. This is the team.
Yep, someone at some point has got to dethrone the Chiefs because it's just they're getting away with so many games and each game's been so close, but they still win it somehow. It's like at some point they got to break, and I
I'm
really
not
hope
saying-
it's this game.
I'm not saying he's going to start, but the Chiefs have activated Pacheco's 21-day window.
All right, he's not starting
No.
if they just activated the window.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
He's not
I-
playing.
But I'm just saying
That's not
that's
for another
something
2
for them to
weeks.
look forward to. They've got Hunt, who's been doing really well, but this team has to beat them now before Pacheco comes back. Because once you add that,
Yep.
you're really not touching them.
Right. Bills for everybody here. And the next one is, like we said, it's Bengals Chargers. And honestly, it should be Bengals here. The Chargers may have a decent defense, but I'm looking here at their schedule from all these previous games. They have not went up against a truly good offense. Certainly not one that has a receiver that put up 260 yards in a single game and a quarterback that threw for almost 500.
Yeah, yeah. For this game, I'm taking.
Taking Bengals.
I'm taking Chargers in this one. I might be the odd man out with this one, but like the Bengals definitely have a way better offense, but I think the Chargers can make work of that terrible Bengals defense they got going. Um, so I'm not going to say the Chargers are going to outshoot the Bengals in this matchup. I mean, it could very much be a shootout, but I don't know. It's just the Bengals have no defense. That's the only way I'm looking at this game, and I think the Chargers are going to expose that to another level. So that's why I'm taking Chargers in this matchup.
Yeah, I think the Chargers will be able to put up points on that Bengals defense, but I'm taking the Bengals just because I don't think the Bengals are going to stop them, but I think they can outshoot them, and I think that's what it's going to be. Like the Ravens defense isn't all that, but it's better than the Bengals, and the Bengals were still able to I mean, the Bengals can put up points on just about any defense, I feel like, and I think that. Especially if they can protect Burrow, then I think it's Bengals.
Yeah. It's just the Bengals offense is too high powered, I think.
I think
Your
it's going to
thoughts?
be a good game. I think it's going to be a good Sunday night game. The Chargers are playing well. With Quentin Johnson, J.K. Dobbins. They just got Gus Edwards back, who should start seeing more of a workload. T. Higgins is still questionable for the Bengals, and even last week against the Ravens, it showed that they don't necessarily need T. Higgins to put up the points they did, for Burrow to perform the way he did. Is it nice to have that receiver? Yeah. Get Jamar open or get T. Higgins open. You might have maybe one more touchdown, you might make that game a lot. You might win that. But he's still up in the air for this week, so is it a more secure win if he's there? I think so. Can they still win without him? Sure. But it's the Chargers, it's not the Ravens. I think the Bengals have it in the bag.
Yep.
Hope so. You hope they do, but there's still the chance that they still mess up, they still slip up. But I'm gonna say the Bengals. I'm gonna stick with them this week. They're gonna bounce back after that close game last week.
Yep.
Alrighty then.
All right, last game of the week. Will
Lone Star Showdown in Dallas, and I don't even care. I don't care about that. I don't care that it's in Dallas, and it only makes me feel that much safer because of Cooper Rush. If that was in, this might be a little bit. But after watching Cooper Rush and Trey Lance throw 33 interceptions last week and 24 fumbles in a game, it seemed like every possession was almost a turnover in the second half. I think Nico's back this week. D'Amico Ryans has already said it. He will play. I think that's going to really get them back on track. But Dallas had a lot of pieces come back last week. Micah Parsons, Overshawn, Diggs, they had a lot of pieces come back. I think they're still just missing Deron Bland, who's still hurting out, but that couldn't even help them on the defensive side stop the Eagles. So it's even with those pieces, I still feel Houston can go in there and take a win.
You know what I am sad that we're not going to get to see in this? Diggs against Diggs.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. That'd have been good. But here's the thing: is do we get a Houston team who's gonna look good and go in there and dominate the first half like they did last week, and then just fumble the second? Or can we get a team that goes in there and dominates both halves? Or is this going to be a game of Kaimi Fairbairn versus Brandon Aubrey, and whoever misses the field goal is the team that loses? Because that's what you're looking at. Top two kickers of the league going at it for 4 quarters.
This is true.
I'm rolling with the Texans. I got zero faith in the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree with Jose. Nothing about the Cowboys tell me that they're gonna keep this game close. And the Texans are getting Nico Collins back, and they needed him back so bad after the last 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm taking Texans all day. But it might be a little bit closer. So I'm gonna keep it close. I have Texans winning by 7.
So after this one, does the winner get the title of America's team?
Good point.
No, I don't know. I don't even think there's an America's team anymore. I think America's team is whoever beats the Chiefs.
That's a fair point.
If anyone's America's team, it's the Lions right now.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody likes the Lions.
What say ye, Paulo?
For Texans and Cowboys. Okay, the Cowboys are dog water, so it's the Texans. Nico will be back. What are the Cowboys gonna do? The Cowboys have been anemic forever. Starting Cooper Rush. What do they have? CD?
That's it.
Is Cooper Rush gonna get him the ball? I'm not confident in that. Run game is doo-doo. Defense is,
Meh.
stick figures. What are they gonna do? Brandon Aubrey can't do it all.
It's
yeah,
looking like Texans all around here.
I really hope so. I really hope so. This is the game to instill the confidence as a state rival It's got to be. Yes, it's not against Dak, but this is a good game to get that confidence back, reestablish Nico, and get back on the right track. Because come December, they have a stretch that is just going to be absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Or they've got to face KC and Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah, those are going to be rough unless they get some stuff straightened out first. But I think that takes care of everything for what is this, week 11, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh man. Like you said, Will, the two best games of the week, Chiefs Bills, Ravens Steelers. We're starting off strong Thursday night with a division game with the Commanders and Eagles. This looks like it's going to be a pretty good week for football.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait.
Oh yeah.
Well, be back for week 12.